Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's masterclass. I'm beyond excited because we have an exceptional guest joining us, Beverly Clarke MBE. Beverly Clarke MBE is an award winning woman in tech and a leader in education from the UK. Beverly seeks to bridge the gap between industry and education, raise the outcomes for all through understanding of and access to technology. She is a strategic advisor, education consultant, published author for adults and children, a writer, a coach, a mentor, an ambassador, a trustee, and founder of the charity technology books for children. Today, Beverly will share her inspiring journey into tech, practical tips for those interested in pursuing careers in tech, and the story behind her amazing books. We will also go into her creative process and what's next for her beyond her series, The Digital Adventures of Ava and Chip. So, welcome, Beverly, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Solana. I really like that intro. It's quite a lot. It's a portfolio career of things, and I'm delighted to be joining you and your listeners. I'm just delighted you're joining us also. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're so very welcome. So, let's get started from the beginning. What inspired you to pursue a career in technology? What was the specific moment that sparked your interest?
It started roughly when I was age 12, and I was born in Guyana in South America, and my parents were going to the Bahamas to work. So they'd been employed, contracted by the Bahamian government to work over there. And we were passing through Florida. And when we stopped off there, that was the first time I'd seen a computer. So I was age 12, I'd seen a computer and was a bit of, oh, wow, okay. So the interest was sparked there. I didn't really have any access to computers in the Bahamas, but it was there in the back of my mind. And when I came to England, there was an opportunity to go to a computer class. And so I was age 15 then. And do you know what? I just went to that lesson and I flew. And I credit my teacher, Mr. McNulty, for taking interest, nurturing me. I can still remember doing number systems and just thinking, oh, that's really exciting, trying to sort of way. And it was those two experiences, I would say, are what led me to university, to everything else that's come from the tech career. It's all started and rooted in age 12 and Mr. McNulty.
Wow, wow, that's a great story. It's amazing how our circumstances or our experiences can lead us down an unexpected path. So
Absolutely.
now, yeah, for those listening, whether your kids, your teens, or even adults, what steps or strategies would you recommend for starting a career in technology?
Well, I'd say it depends on where and when you come to your career in technology. So let's start with children. If you're at school, there's lots you can do. First of all, I'm going to say tech is not about coding only. So yes, you have code clubs. You can go to a code club, for example, but there
Mhm.
are lots of STEM clubs. So STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. There are lots of STEM clubs you can join up. There are AI clubs. There's lots that you can get involved in. So start getting involved with that. There are lots of companies offer work experience. Take it, get that work experience. There are lots of virtual field trips also that companies are offering. So you can start seeing what is out there in tech as a young person. Attend any careers days. Just get involved. When you're young, it's a perfect time to explore and experiment and ask questions about this possibilities with a career. And I'd also say that with tech, it doesn't have to be just STEM. Tech is in every single field that you're going to go into. So it's really wise, I would say, to take an interest in tech. So as a young person, I would just say, go forth and consider how tech is going to support you in whatever career, whether it's fishing, fashion, agriculture, whether it's traditional tech as an analyst or a developer, get involved, find out what possibilities there are for you. Now, the other side of it is someone who is coming to tech later, for who hasn't been through, say, a traditional route of school, college, university type route. So there's lots of programs that you can get involved in. Say, for example, if you're a woman who is returning to work, perhaps after having a family or something, there are lots of women returning to work schemes within the STEM sector. There,
Mhm.
the apprentice tends to be quite young, but there are lots of apprentice programs. There are lots of courses, lots of conversion courses. Literally, get online. How do I get into a STEM career? What courses are available? Go out, get it, grasp it, because tech is really part of this industrial revolution we find ourselves
Oh,
in.
yes.
It's a tech revolution, really. So let's ride that wave, really. You want to be on
I
that wave.
agree. Totally agree. That's so very helpful. All of that advice. I love how you broke it down into practical steps. It makes tech feel so much accessible for even the really young audience. Speaking of accessibility, your books, The Digital Adventures of Ava and Chip, it's helping introduce kids to technology in such a fun and engaging way. What inspired you to write this series?
Well, so I've actually got the books with me, so I'm going to hold up one of
Oh,
them here.
yes,
So
please share.
yeah, I'll show you the first one first of all. Smart City. So
Yes.
basically, after decades of working in tech here in the UK, I realized there was a couple of themes. Every meeting I'd been to almost, I kept hearing there weren't enough people going into STEM. There weren't enough girls
Mhm.
going into STEM.
Yes.
There was a lack of people from, diverse backgrounds. There was a lack of ethnic representation. There was just a lack of. And we've got this STEM and tech revolution going on, and we've got a lack of people. And I sat there, and I'm female, I'm a black woman, and I
Mhm.
thought, well, I'm leading computing education nationally. Isn't there something I can do about this? And a bit of time in a lockdown, I just started penning a book, because I just thought, well, one of the things I enjoyed as a child was reading. Reading is embedded in every school system around the
Oh,
world.
yes.
And I just thought, where do we read for pleasure about tech? And I thought, hang on, we don't. I've had two children come through the school system. I've got nephews going through the school system. And there's
Yes.
nobody reading for pleasure on tech. Everything is fairies, monsters, or something else. And I thought, right, let me start penning a story. I'd written for adults many, before. And I thought I'd write one book. Anyway, I thought, hang on, you've got a series. So that's where this came
Yes. There's
from.
so much to talk about. Hmm.
Yeah, honestly, I just started writing, and I had to research the entire process of writing. There's so many different drafts. Um, I started writing publishers, for example, and I'm bringing something new to the table.
Oh,
And
yes.
I'm getting rejection letter after rejection
Mm.
letter, and that can be demoralizing.
Sure.
And I thought, I know this needs to happen. I really know it needs to happen. I can't wait. The time is now. Nothing is going to change. And I was away one weekend. I just sat up bolt upright in bed, and I thought, just self-publish and start just putting everything out there yourself. And basically, I'm 4 books in. So
Wow. Wow. Amazing. It's wonderful to see how your passion for tech education extends into storytelling.
it is
Um,
storytelling. Yeah, you
mhm.
really, we need to think about the impact. So there's loads going on there, rightly so, of how to use. So, are you going to use a physical computing device? Are you going to, what are you going to do? But we don't consider the impacts and dream and then start innovating. And books can be a very private space. And we want
Sure.
to ignite the imagination. And I think it's interesting to read about tech. It's happening around us.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So your two characters, Ava and Chip, are such relatable characters. And kids, for kids and families. Can you tell us a little more about their journey and what you hope readers can take away from their story?
Of course. So there's lots going on. If I share, for example, there's Ava and Mum. You may guess it's been modeled on myself, and I chose
Yes.
my children look quite
Oh,
similar. So
love
I've
it.
just got a photo of a child, one of my daughters when they were younger, and
Oh,
Chip. So you can see us as a family. Chip is based upon one of my nephews, and he's very
oh,
clever.
adorable. I
And
love that.
it's thank you. And me, I mean, in one point of my life, I was a single parent, and I would have to take my children out. As other single parents do, you go on day trips with your children. And I thought, well, hang on, let's just have Mum with her two children going out and about, and it also shows a female in role knowing about tech. So I'm not scared of tech because I've always worked in tech, and
Mhm.
it's modeled on my life. I'd have to take my children out, so hey, let's just put a tech spin on it. Unfortunately, my
Love it.
children have not chosen tech careers, but it's that whole thing of talking to your child and
Hmm.
bringing them along, educating them. So on this adventure, they go to a smart shop, for example. Now, across the world, we've got smart shops where you scan your way in, you just pick up what you want, you pop it into your bags, and you leave. So you don't go through a cashier, or
The
we call them
register.
tills, I think
Mhm.
tills also in the
Yes.
US. So what's that experience like? Because that's one way in which our society is changing. And I've been to smart shops and smart stores here in the UK. And so Amazon has one. I think it's Amazon Fresh. We
Okay.
have them here. Maybe you have them there in the US too. There's like Tesco Go. Tesco's a big supermarket chain we've got here in the UK. And again, it's fascinating because when you walk into a store and just put something into your bag and walk out, now, for the main part, if you do that today, you're going to be arrested for theft,
Certainly.
right? However, we can do this in some stores due to technology. So that's a conversation to be had. How is where we live, how is it changing? What's the impact upon jobs? Because I've heard of some stories where in some areas people have boycotted these new stores because they felt it was having an impact upon work. There's this conversations to be had there, and I think
Sure.
children should be a part of that. So that's what I mean about reading for pleasure on tech topics. And I've got, I mean, sensors. Well, which page? I'm going this way, right? So there's little boxes, call out boxes there. Where do we find sensors? They're everywhere. You go to the bathroom and you put your hand under a hand dryer, there's
Ah,
sensors at work. Or you get
correct.
water to come on, there's sensors at work. Or you walk into a room and automatic lighting that comes on, there are sensors. So what are those sensors doing? What are they responding to? So there's lots of conversations we can have about tech, which isn't a lesson, it's a story. And then you can say, oh, what can I do with that? And then you start creating in a fun way.
Love it.
Thank
Love
you.
it. This is such an important message, especially in a world where technology is constantly evolving. I imagine that creating relatable characters like Ava and Chip must have been a lot of fun.
It was, it really was.
What do you think makes them resonate so well with kids and families?
I think, well, I'd like to think I just use easy language.
Hmm.
They look like some of the people we see on the streets.
Oh, yes.
They're just, I'm just looking at my own books here. I'd just say, they're dressed the way you see other people
Hmm.
dressed, and they're asking questions. It's just everyday family life.
Gotcha.
You're at home with your mom. The telly is on in the background. You're having a conversation. You may have a bit of competition with your sibling. It's that type of thing.
That's fascinating. I love it. I love how you added the personal experiences into your story. Such a creative project.
I just think if it comes from use, it's an extension of my life. It makes it easier to write. So I haven't just dreamt up something that's completely different. So when I was typing, I could hear the voices in my head
Hmm.
because I could feel the experiences. So I've, when my girls were younger, I've got to train into London so many times because I've always lived outside of London. So that's a very relatable experience. I'm traveling into the big city. It's a
Hmm.
smart city. No, I mean, London is a smart city. There are loads of smart cities across the US also. So the thing is about a smart city, it isn't a distant city somewhere else. We're talking about a city that's using real-time data, cities that are just, they're being controlled by technology. So smart cities are everywhere. Singapore is a smart city. They're all across the world. So Madrid, we've got smart cities here. People are interacting with them. We're contactless. We're tapping with our cards. There's a
Sure.
whole lot
Mhm.
of data happening there. We've got gigabit infrastructure. There is a lot happening. We are all living in smart cities or connected towns, and even our rural areas are changing with tech. So
Yes.
I'd say it's relatable, and you can put yourself into that setting.
I love it. Yeah, thank you. Now, every writer faces challenges, during the creative process. Were there any challenging parts that you encountered? Anything challenging about writing the stories?
There were lots of challenges along the way. So from the get-go, so I've written the stories, I'm trying to get them out there and encountering, as I mentioned, the blockages with publishers.
Hmm.
Even self-publishing, I was ringing around quite a lot, calling up, and you've got to talk to people, ask lots of questions, find out what you're going to get for your money. Okay,
Sure,
see other
definitely.
examples of what you're a published author also, you know what this process is like.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you've got to ask for examples of their work. You've got to keep asking. It's not a magic. It's nothing magical is going to happen overnight. You've still got to work away at it. So I eventually settled on a publisher in Wales, which is the adjacent sort of country. It's part of the UK, but they've got their own language here
Okay.
over in Wales, and he would do my editing because one of the things I'm not good at is all the punctuation. I mean, very,
Okay.
I find that to be challenging. So I write all my own words. So just tidy up my punctuation, and then we spoke and said where would be the best places for illustrations to complement my words. So he found an illustrator to then illustrate the words. So this is what I want. So I would send images, for example, with self-driving car, I sent across images and said, well, can you create something close to this, but in keeping with Ava and Chip? So self-driving car is the second book along in the series. So it's that type of journey. And, it's lots of things. It's getting your book up onto Amazon KDP. There's
Sure.
lots of little snags you hit. And of course, getting the word out.
Oh yes, that's
Yeah,
the important part, the marketing. Hmm.
marketing, I think, is a degree I should have done sometimes. But it's a creative process. You've got to be willing to go out there and to talk to people. I have done loads of events where there's been very poor show or no show, but you've got to go out there and share your message and
Oh
believe
yes.
that it's going to hit and connect with the right people at the right time.
Oh yes. That sounds so relatable for writers. But you created something truly special. How has becoming an author changed your perspective on storytelling and connecting with your readers?
Um, how is it? Just a very, very good question. That I think you've got to be able to share parts of your own personal journey with your
Mhm.
readers, and you've got to be real. I'd say keep it real.
That's authentic.
There's also a bit of developing as a storyteller.
Okay.
So, I am sort of 3 or 4 years into this journey of storytelling in this particular format. And it's about using the right examples, the right illustrations. I think it's always me, because my background is that of being a former teacher also. I think it's also about looking at how you can refine your process
Mm-hmm.
and connecting with your readers. So I just think, bringing new things to them also, saying, well, here's an example. This is what we've spoken about in the books, just, and also, yeah, so making it relatable, being really relatable. And as tech is one of those things that people can be scared of. And it's a
Sure.
case of, well, actually, there's no need for anyone to be scared of tech or not to feel that they're smart enough. It's nothing to do with being smart. It's about being able to access the tech, and the tech meeting you where you are when you need it, as opposed to sort of something happening to you. It's tech. It's no, I'll use the tech depending upon when and where I need it. So
Mhm.
one of the phrases that I use frequently in other areas of my work is meeting people where they are.
Okay.
So if you're in a
Fabulous.
rural area, or you're in a city, or you're a bit cautious but you want to develop, it's meeting you where you are, and then we're all going forth together.
Love it. Love your perspective on that.
Was
What's
that a tricky question?
yes, it does. What's been one of the most rewarding accomplishments that you've had since becoming a writer?
Well, my writing isn't just one thing. It's part of what I call a portfolio career, as you mentioned when you introduced me. So there are a few highlights. Oh, I can't stick to one. There's quite a
Oh,
few.
share them all. Thank you.
So about a couple of years ago, I started winning awards. It
Okay.
was just something that started coming into my life. And so in 2022, I won 2 awards within about 2 months of each other, two really big awards.
Wow.
And the first one was for being a tech woman. So there's an awards here called the Tech Women 100. And I was one of
Mhm.
the 100 women. And
Amazing.
it was just like, oh, wow. And
That's
then,
fabulous.
yeah. um, then I entered, because this is a business, the books I do run as a separate business to my other day-to-day consulting work. And I entered a small business Sunday competition. So you've got Shark Tank in the US. We've got the
Yes.
equivalent Dragon's Den here. So
Okay.
one of the former Dragon's Den entrepreneurs here in the UK, he runs what's called a Small Business Sunday Network, where
Okay.
every Sunday small businesses can pitch their business, and he chooses 6 businesses a week, and you get entered into his network, and there are different networking benefits there.
Okay.
And I heard about it, and I decided just one Sunday to enter. You enter in a tweet. That's the amount of writing you can do. And the
That's
next
easy.
day, he chooses winners. And I literally just did it. And the next day, we're at home having dinner, and my husband goes, "He's just retweeted your tweet." And I said, "No way,
Fabulous.
stop it."
Oh,
I,
wow.
I was one of the winners. So that's plugged me into another network. So that's me winning a second award. And then there's a photo with him, Theo Paphitis. And every year there's a network you can, there's a big networking day where you can go and you get lots of inspirational talks. And it's as much as little as you want, because there's lots of small businesses that he are in his network, from someone, who is, say, perhaps, has a dog walking business or is making jewelry or something else. And then there are people who write. So,
Yes.
so those are 2 awards. Professionally,
Congratulations.
oh, thank you so much. It's just sort of chipping away at it and taking that step. Just enter. Well, you've got nothing to lose, and it was literally first time entered, and I won that. The others I've been nominated for by other people. I've been on the Computer Weekly long list. It's my ambition to make it onto the short list, or at least the top
Yes.
50 one day. The Computer Weekly long list for every year for the last 3 years. So that's, and recently, this year in June, we have got an honours system here in the UK,
Okay.
which is a system where people are nominated for their outstanding work and their outstanding public service. And I came home one day to a letter from the cabinet office saying I'd been awarded an honour for my services to education,
Wow.
and that was amazing. It's a big thing here in the UK. How can I equate it? So you've heard of people being called sir or dame.
Yes,
Right.
indeed.
Okay, so that's the top of that honor system. But before you get to that stage, it's not a progression pathway, but there are different awards. And one of them is MBE. So I've got an MBE. That's where Beverly Clarke MBE comes from. So you can use those post nominals. And it's really big in England, across the UK, and across the Commonwealth also.
That's fabulous.
So it was amazing. You've got to keep it quiet for 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
At least, because it's announced nationally in the King's Birthday Honours List. It's a big thing. And I had it's called an investiture ceremony at Windsor Castle last week. And that's where the different members of the royal family carry out the ceremonies. But mine was carried out by Her Royal Highness Princess Anne. So on my social media, there's a photo of me shaking Princess Anne's hand.
Wonderful. That's so fabulous.
Uh,
Congratulations. That's a
Thank you
big
so much.
deal.
It was an amazing day, as you would expect from such a prestigious event. So I'm over the moon. My family's over the moon. Just
And rightly so.
yeah. So there's been a few awards, and I'm enjoying them. And I'm also encouraging other people to go forward, do your public service, put your best foot forward.
Mhm.
You don't know where you may end up.
Yes, those are beautiful accomplishments. Thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
them. So, for kids out there who dream of writing their own story someday, what advice would you give them?
I would say every journey starts with a first step. So if you dream about writing, start. Start writing that story. Don't worry about whether it's good. Some people get really, really caught up in structure and so forth. Just write. It's a creative expression. Also, some people can, if physically writing isn't your thing, there are lots of tech tools to help you. And what
Oh,
I mean by
yes.
that is you can speak, and your speech can be converted into text. And that's another fantastic way of getting your story out. So if you're not a typist, that's okay. But
Yeah.
utilize the tech. I'm not talking about AI generated stories. That's something
Mhm.
completely different. I'm talking
Okay.
about you bringing your real and authentic self to a story.
Mhm.
So speak, use the tech, or write or type, and bring your true story and yourself to life through writing.
Fantastic advice. It's so important to encourage kids to follow their creative process. So, I love it. Mhm.
Oh, yes, it's really important.
So, before we wrap up, can you give us a sneak peek into what's next for you? Are there any more adventures on the horizon for Ava and Chip?
I tell you what, there's a couple. So, yes, there are. There's always an adventure. So, I'll share book 3, which is quite recent. So, Smart Home. We're all living in smart homes. So, that's another one. And this is brand new, a tech
Okay.
activity book.
Oh,
So it's got fun facts. It's got a cryptogram puzzle there. It's
tools.
got word scrambles, lots of
Love it.
activities and answers. So there's 80 pages of that.
Okay.
So I may extend the tech activity series.
Okay.
And
Oh,
I've
I
also
like
got,
that.
yeah, thank
Ooh.
you. You know, I just think there's so much we can be doing around tech. And this is what I mean for pleasure. It's fun, you know, fun activities. And there's something else
Mhm.
that I'd like to mention if we've still got enough time. Um, you know, doing all of my own work here of my own right, I've also founded a charity with the title Technology Books for Children.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
And really, I just thought there's a wider remit beyond just my books. So it's still in its founding, you know, it's I would call it this embryonic stages. We've been going a year, but it's things like building the website, getting the social media going, and things like that. So, you know, if anybody's, you know, wants to get involved with that, I mean, we're a UK registered organization, but, you know, we've got hits from all around the world since it's been up there. So people are searching for this, and there is a need for technology books for children. So, you know,
Agreed.
I'll just hold that up there and just, oh, got the camera right there, you know, just reach out to us online. And
Yes.
you know, I'd love to speak to anyone who wants to talk technology books for children. And, you know, with Ava and Chip, and coming back to myself and my own right, you know, we're across social media. So it's at Ava Chip Books all together, one word. And just reach out. I mean, I'd love to see Ava and Chip in more schools, and I'm happy to do author visits. And, you know, be that in the UK in person, or US it might be virtual. It's things like that, just spreading the word, and, you know, making this difference. Just, you know, like you with your books, you're making a difference to STEM education. So I, I really do think we need to take this seriously.
Oh, yes. We definitely need more tech books. Okay. So, can they purchase the book on your website? Where can they
Yeah,
get your books from?
yeah. Head to Amazon. Type if you just type in Ava and Chip, because I know
Okay.
people may not want to type in the digital adventures of Ava and Chip. It's quite a lot. But you type in Ava and Chip, you'll find my books.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, Beverly, this has been such an insightful and inspiring conversation. Thank you for sharing your journey, your wisdom, your proven strategies, your tips, and your creativity with us today. I know everyone watching has gained so much from hearing your story.
Well, thank you so much, Solana. Thank you so much for inviting me and supporting, because we've been connected online for a few years now, you know,
Mhm.
liking each other's posts and interacting. And I really hope that everyone listening has gained something. You know, please do reach out. You know, you can find me on LinkedIn as Beverly Clarke, or, you know, you can follow the book series at Ava Chip Books across social media. And I'd love to hear from you, love to hear your experiences. It's, I think we can all just embrace tech and, you know, be part of the tech revolution and help our young people, because they are living in changing times.
Oh, indeed. Together we can help inspire our tech leaders of tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Alana.